Week 7 of the NFL season underway. The Saints fall big to the Denver Broncos. Can we add another team to the list of NFL trade deadline sellers, maybe to the coach's hot seat as well? Texans, Packers, Eagles, Giants, and a Super Bowl rematch, all coming up on today's Week 7 NFL picks.
NFL analyst Brian Peacock and former NFL scout Matt Williamson bring you expert NFL analysis every day in less than 30 minutes. Get an inside look at the NFL on the field and in the front office with elite breakdowns to next-level analysis and in-depth information only for the real NFL fans. This is Peacock and Williamson, and it starts now.
Welcome to the Peacock and Williamson NFL Show. Brian Peacock alongside Matt Williamson at BD Peacock at Williamson NFL. Thanks, everybody, for making us your first listen here on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Love all of our everydayers out there that are subscribed up on YouTube and everywhere you get your podcasts. And welcome to all the new listeners here on Peacock and Williamson every day. Subscribe so you don't miss an episode. And today's episode of Peacock and Williamson is brought to you by FanDuel. Place your first $5 bet, and you'll get started with $200 in bonus bets guaranteed. All you got to do is visit FanDuel.com to get started. All right, we are going to get started, Matt, with the Thursday nighter from Week 7. That was the New Orleans Saints, who were hosting the Denver Broncos, and barely did they put up a fight, the New Orleans Saints. And I think, one of our listeners sent us a list of all the players that were out for the New Orleans Saints on Thursday morning once we saw who was actually going to play in this game. And both of us thought that these two teams were, with rookie quarterbacks, were evenly matched enough that at home, the New Orleans Saints getting 2.5 points would probably be enough. It was not nearly enough. And the Saints were able to put the ball in the end zone finally in the fourth quarter. And really through the first quarter of the game, I thought this might be a 6-3 game. It was pretty ugly throughout. And then the Broncos ended up getting it going a little bit offensively, putting the ball in the end zone a few times. 33-10 was the final. Broncos now 4-3. Scrappy little Broncos team here above 500. And the Saints, after such a hot start, falling now to 2-5.
Yeah, and I think they had 3 starters on offense from opening day, both tackles who have been suspect and Kamara. I mean, I think that's what the Saints had. But it was worse than that. I mean, it really was. I mean, I never really felt like the Saints had much chance to win this game, even early on when the score was close, and especially from halftime on. I felt a very hopeless feeling in that whole stadium watching it. And I absolutely think they need to be on the list of sellers / hot seat. And different than some of those other teams, they've kicked the can down the road and maxed out the credit card so much over the years that it might be blow it up time completely. Hey, can you move Carr for a second-round pick? I mean, Kamara, the older guys for sure need to go elsewhere and get you picks and kind of bottom out. And I don't know if that means like trading Olave, but I mean like Lattimore and those type of dudes, Honey Badger. I mean, it's a miserable environment right now. And I actually think, I remember we did a mailbag shortly before the season, and one of our listeners suggested they thought the Saints might be the first team to get fired. Well, they're not first, but I think they're getting fired. I think that after 2 weeks, you might have looked at it differently. But since then, they have crashed down to earth, and they are a bottom 10 team, if not worse. Let's talk Denver, though. Did you have some Saints thoughts, too? They're miserable.
Sellers and hot seat. Yes. To put it simply, one of the worst performances I've seen this season. And, you don't have your starting quarterback. You got a rookie out there in Rattler. I think his first start last week gave me a little bit of confidence. Like, maybe you find, not necessarily a long-term starter, but, he didn't fall completely on his face. It looked bad when they really needed him to actually do something, and you're down in the game. And Alvin Kamara's 1.4 yards per carry on his 7 carries for 10 yards. And so you're not really getting much going on the ground. It's like, all right, rookie, let's see what you could do. And you might have some 3rd and longs. And it did not look good at all. And he's turning the ball over, no interceptions, but he did fumble a couple of times. You see Jake Haener back in. Do they go to Haener again after we saw him a little bit, and then they went to Spencer Rattler? it just all looked bad. And I know there were some injuries, but was it all just that? I don't know. And I guess you have to give some credit to the Denver Broncos defense, which is turning out to be a pretty good unit. They even have their best player, Cody Barton, all over the place. I mean, he had one of everything on the stat sheet in this game.
Yeah, and I think Vance Joseph is a very good coordinator, and he probably looked at this game like, okay, I don't have much time, but they don't have much in the way of players, and thank you for playing some Spencer Rattler last week so I could get some film on him to kind of make him uncomfortable, to learn more. But to me, I do want to talk more about their defense. Speaking of coordinators, Sean Payton not only knows the environment he's walking into on a short week and the nostalgia around Drew Brees, but he knows how to attack that defense probably better than anyone on the planet. I mean, that was
we were previewing this game. I didn't even consider that angle of it. I thought, okay, yeah, homecoming maybe, but knowing Dennis Allen and to be honest with you, if we're being perfectly honest, just being a flat out better coach than Dennis Allen.
Right. I'm better at this than you. You were under me, and you learned everything a lot from me. And I know it's a big brother, little brother situation. No doubt.
And we saw this last year with the Broncos, who didn't have the greatest roster, had a weird quarterback situation,
right.
And they won some games. And we're seeing them right now winning some games. They're 4-3. I don't think they have the most amazing roster. It's not like Sean Payton is just a wizard and it's all the offense and this rookie quarterback that's going crazy, because that's not it either. They're playing good ball on defense and being complimentary. Javonte Williams is running the ball excellent in this game. Had a nice long touchdown run, had another one. And so you got to give some credit to Sean Payton. He can coach a football team a little bit. And if they found their quarterback and can get, I don't think Bo Nix can be the next Drew Brees, but how good can he be? Probably is the answer to how good the Broncos can eventually be. And if you're the Broncos, you're second place in the AFC West right now. Depending on what happens with the Chargers, do you even become a buyer? Do you call your old team and try to just steal some more of your old players?
They need a receiver. I'm not sure you can pry away Olave and everybody else is hurt, but maybe. I do think that the Broncos are quite good on both lines of scrimmage. I mean, those guards and McGlinchey back and Miners is a star. Their edge guys are deep, and Zach Allen's the best player that no one's talking about. He's been really, really good for them, and the defense is well coached. The offense is well coached. And I just had this conversation with Wig on Locked On NFL. I believe there's about a dozen human beings on this planet that just flat out know how to win in the NFL. And one of them's Belichick, who's not in the league, and there's probably a couple others floating around, Pete Carroll, that aren't in the league. But if you give them crappy ingredients, they still win 7 or 8 games. If you let them actually pick their ingredients, then they win 8 or 9 or 10. If you give them Drew Brees, they win the Super Bowl or close to it. The Harbaugh Tomlin types, and I think Peyton's one of those guys.
And we're pretty darn far away from the Drew Brees, Sean Payton Super Bowl for New Orleans Saints. Right. Can we stop kicking the can down the road and figure this thing out? That's probably what they have to start doing right now. From the cap numbers from Jason Fitzgerald of Over the Cap, and he said the only player that they can gain cap from right now is Alvin Kamara as far as trading, because they've kicked the can down the road so many times with so many players. It might be time to hit the reset button a little bit there.
Chiefs, Cowboys, put them on the Chiefs.
Oh, Kamara, I would hate that. I would hate that for the rest of the league, but I would
for the rest of the league, right? Exactly, yeah. For the Niners' hopes and everybody else's, right?
Well, the Niners
might as well dump them
this week, so you at least that one up if you're the Niners. But man, Kamara,
I can find some homes for Kamara. Yeah.
Oh, no doubt. A lot of teams could do it. He could be the type of boost potentially. He's not quite the player, and at that point in his career that McCaffrey was for the Niners a couple of years ago at the deadline potentially.
I could use him a lot of ways. I could take a little bit off his plate, keep him, maybe get an extra year out of him.
But then again, if you're the Saints, you could talk yourself into, look how good we looked when we were healthy to start the season. Let's get healthy and then see how this goes. So maybe they don't sell at the deadline. And maybe they have to continue to look this bad the rest of the year to blow it up at the end of the year rather than figuring it out in the next couple of weeks. Would they wave the white flag? 2-5 doesn't look good for them right now.
What do you do with Carr?
I've never been the biggest Carr guy anyway, so
no.
You can get something. I think Carr, you don't just give him away, but if someone comes with something, then yeah, and that's where I would be if I was the Saints. you come with something pretty strong for any of my players that's the right value in return, let's dance. As long as it's not a young foundational piece that we're trying to build with going forward. Like,
yeah, we're open for business.
Yeah, absolutely. And Carr's not the type of quarterback where you're just saying no to because he's going to be the next great QB in his late 30s is going to lead you somewhere.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm just thinking like the Giants, or I'm sure there's plenty.
Connection to Carr in the first place, and I think he's probably got to go. If anything, I would have the offensive coordinator potentially be interim head coach and see how that goes the rest of the year.
I think that could be absolutely in the cards, which would make some sense. They're falling apart.
Yeah. But get on the Broncos. I don't know where the Broncos are necessarily going, but again, there's some scrappiness there, and we probably looked at the roster and underrated what they could potentially do with Sean Payton and a rookie quarterback this year. But also, they played some bad teams as well, so we'll see. Yeah. Kind of suspicious still of the Broncos. Like this was the Saints on a Thursday was a pretty good team to play this week.
I do think Denver's hard to play against, but lacking talent. I think the Saints are getting easier and easier to play against and should start dumping talent.
You mentioned wide receiver. Troy Franklin, the rookie, has been getting into the lineup and was actually starter in their 3 wide receiver set, 5 catches for 50 yards. And when you watch him run a route, there's a couple of routes where number 16, the rookie Troy Franklin out of Oregon, Bo Nix's former teammate, was lined up next to number 14, Cortland Sutton. And you see them take off for a route. And you're like, one guy's a lot faster than the other guy, right? And so it's probably something that offense can use. And I know there's Vele, the other rookie. He's going to turn 27 years old in December. He's an old rookie. So there's a reason why he's a little bit ahead of like the 20-year-old who was true junior, I think, was Troy Franklin coming out in the draft. And so now we're seeing maybe Troy Franklin is that extra piece they're going to need that gives them a little dynamism, a little speed on that offense on the outside in the second half of the year rather than going and trading for somebody. And, they got little Jordan Humphrey, and they got a bunch of different wide receivers they're mixing in 4 or 5 guys. So they've got a volume of receivers, but they don't really have anybody to lean on. Sutton's not really that guy to be a wide receiver 1 anymore either. So Troy Franklin, interesting little player the rest of the way this year.
That Franklin and the rest of them could look quite good with a first-round receiver. You know what I mean? Like,
right? Yeah, you bump them all down one.
Right.
Like the speed number 3 guy, Cortland Sutton's the chain moving number 2 guy, and then you get a 1 in there with Bo Nix. If Bo Nix
is pick in the draft or whatever, right? Wide receiver 2 off the board or 3 or whatever. I'm cooking then.
Next, let's make picks for the rest of the week 7 schedule. Today's episode of Peacock and Williamson brought to you by Arena Club. For most of us that like collecting cards, the idea of spending $2,000 or more on a Patrick Mahomes rookie card or an Ellie rookie or a Luka rookie or some of the best cards you can find just isn't in the cards. And even if you love collecting, some serious money to drop. Thanks to slab packs, though, from Arena Club, now it's possible to score gem mints for a fraction of their retail price. Every card that I just listed was a hit from last week's Arena Club slab pack drop. Arena Club is the only repack that provides real value, a complete view of all possible cards, and clear hit rates for each one. Arena Club slab packs are revolutionizing the repack game with transparency. After your pulls are revealed, immediately placed into your showroom, safekeeping for selling, trading, auction, whatever you want to do with your new cards. And right now you can get 10% off your first slab pack or card purchase by going to arenaclub.com/LockedOnNFL and use code LockedOnNFL. Whether you're buying, trading, selling, displaying, Arena Club is the card collecting platform you have to check out. Go to arenaclub.com/LockedOnNFL, promo code LockedOnNFL for 10% off your first purchase. The next segment of Peacock and Williamson brought to you by Prize Picks. Prize Picks is daily fantasy made easy. And while you're having all this fun playing DFS with Prize Picks, you know what? You can win up to 100 times your money now on Prize Picks with as little as 4 correct picks. And Prize Picks is the only real money fantasy platform with an injury insurance policy. So your lineups stay in play. Even if one of your players gets injured in the first half, doesn't return in the second half, Prize Picks keeps your lineup alive. And sign up today, get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even have to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. So if Justin Jefferson, you want to say, hey, he's going more than 83.5 receiving yards, or Patrick Mahomes, less than 267.5 passing yards, you can find those, and you're just picking more than or less than on 2 or more stat projections at Prize Picks and watch the winnings roll in. Download the app today. Use code LOCKEDONNFL to get $50 instantly when you play your first $5 lineup. That's code LOCKEDONNFL at Prize Picks for $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, run your game. All right, here we go. We one down and a few more to go here for the Week 7 schedule of games. We do have some bye weeks this week. No Bears, no Cowboys playing in Week 7. And we already did our 6-pack of picks, Matt. And
we have good games, though.
Yeah, there's some good ones.
Yeah.
We both took New England against Jacksonville, getting points in London. We split on Cleveland, Cincy. I picked Cleveland. I can't believe I picked Cleveland.
Yeah.
But I'm getting 6.5
They're
points.
home. New stadium coming in Cleveland, by the way, a dome. Weird.
Hey, there you go. What kind of product are they going to put in that dome? We'll find out. I need to do some housekeeping. Might need to have that garage sale before you move into your new place.
There's some lean times ahead, I think.
With the way things are going right now. And you took the Bengals, giving up 6.5 on the road at Cleveland. We both took Tennessee, getting 8.5 against Buffalo. I took the Pittsburgh Steelers. You took the Jets. Matt Williamson finally jumping off the Steelers bandwagon. Steelers home getting 1.5. And we both took Detroit at Minnesota, getting points on the road, which should be an awesome one. One of the better games this week. One of the other better games this week, in my opinion, is the Houston Texans at the Green Bay Packers. So we got the 5-1 Texans at the 4-2 Packers. It is Green Bay favored by 2.5 points at home here.
Really good one. I think Green Bay might be the more complete team in terms of the variety of ways they can attack you. Two of my favorite young quarterbacks that don't have a ton of experience but are really trending the right way at Green Bay. You said 2.5?
2.5 Packers at home favored, yes.
Might be a little too much, though. I'm going like 28-27. So I'm just going to take points here, but I think Green Bay is the slightly better team. Not feeling strong on that one.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd even say they're the slightly better team. I think these teams are really evenly matched. And I think this is just going to be fun, popcorn game. So that means I'm getting points. With the Texans, I'm going to take it. Now going from Houston to Green Bay and playing a game, it's it's not like January weather, but I think there are some elements right now, so that could play in the Packers' favor. But I mean, I like the Texans. I think they're complete. The Packers are pretty complete, but I'm getting points with the Texans. I'm gonna take it. This is gonna be a really fun game. It could absolutely go either way. I don't think I would put my money on it, but we got to make picks here. So I'm gonna go Texans on the road with the mini upset here against the Bucs.
I do think a healthy mix-in goes a long way. Without question, they can actually have some semblance of a running game.
Over 2 years, they haven't been able to run the ball with any other running back.
No, I mean, it's bizarre. Yeah. And they don't have a bad O-line, but it's a heavily penalized O-line, and Tunsil's not playing as well as he usually is. I think he's fighting an injury. I'm really torn on this.
Leading receiver for the Packers this week. Romeo Doubs gets suspended, then comes back, has 2 touchdowns. 1 week it's Wicks, and then the week before Wicks will get 0 targets. Then the week after Wicks will get 0 targets, and then it's Christian Watson will be the number 1. And then Jaden Reed's kind of the consistent one that going to be involved and in the slot and has been their leading receiver so far. Who leads them in receptions and in yards in this one?
I tend to think Reed's like the guy you start in fantasy every week and go from there, and then it's just a crapshoot. I'm gonna go big with Watson. I think when Watson's healthy, he can play like the one there.
Always a
The
when
player, the smart one to bet on every week is probably Reed.
Yes, agreed. Big play guy, Watson. He's a little bit hard to bank on.
Seattle Seahawks are at the Atlanta Falcons. It's the 3-3 Seahawks at the 4-2 Falcons. Pretty important game here for these two teams that need to keep pace in their respective divisions. Atlanta at home favored by 3 points, which means that, and by the way, all of our lines are coming from our friends at FanDuel. FanDuel's looking at this one saying, well, neutral field, these teams are even. Falcons get that field goal at home.
Yeah, I'm not sure they're even, though. I mean, Seattle's really trending the wrong way, and Atlanta seems to be really finding themselves as a coaching staff, quarterback, both sides of the ball, at home. It's a pretty good number, though. I mean, if it was 3.5, maybe I would lean towards the road team, but awful far road trip. I'm going to take Atlanta.
I'm with you. I like Atlanta in this one. because after seeing, and now the Seahawks had what some call a mini bye, so some time to lick their wounds over the course of the last 10 days since they played last Thursday. But they went and traded for a defensive lineman because they're so banged up. And if you don't have a above the board defensive line, your defense becomes in the NFL, Matt, kind of non-functional. And that's what I saw from their defense without all their defensive linemen. And you know, Byron Murphy's questionable to come back in this one. They were without their top 3 edge players that are banged up. You might get one of those guys back. They basically have 4 offensive linemen because Stone Forsythe is just a turnstile at right tackle, and their best, one of their better, not their best corner, but Reek Woolen is banged up as well. And so it's a little bit too much. It's not quite Saints level with how many players they're going to have out, but it's pretty close. They're one of the more banged up teams in the NFL, and obviously the Saints are playing some of their best ball right now. So I'm gonna give up those 3 points and take the Saints or take the Falcons at home.
Yeah, and we mentioned this earlier in the week. I think Seattle's slowly trending to Sellerville. You know,
I think they can get healthy and they're better. Like if I said who's going to be the better team in 3 weeks, on the trade deadline, who's the better team, the Seahawks or the Saints? I think the Seahawks. Clear answer for me. So I don't think they're quite there. The Titans at the Bills. No, we already did Titans and Bills, didn't we? Yeah, we both took Tennessee 8.5. That line has stayed
just a lot.
It's just a lot of points. We obviously think the Bills are a better team, and
does look like Amari's going to play and all that good stuff. But
how about the Dolphins and the Colts? The 2-3 Dolphins off of a bye, and the Indianapolis Colts, who are a 3-3 football team right now. Colts favored by 3 points at home over the Miami Dolphins.
We're getting Richardson, which makes it harder to back the Colts, in my opinion. But I also think Miami can be run on, and I think their defense has been on the field a lot and isn't super physical. And Wig got a kick out of it. We were talking about the Dolphins, and I said they have too many Ferraris and not enough dump trucks. You know, I mean, like they have all these fast guys, but they just need to give me a 320-pound guard and run the football. And I think,
and they have no foreman on the job site.
No, right, exactly. Nice. And I think the Colts have plenty of dump trucks, even without Jonathan Taylor. I think they win this one at home pretty handily.
I hate this one. I think I'm just going to go against you and say the Dolphins keep it close within 3 because I just don't trust either team right now. So I'll take the points. The Dolphins should be able to. I mean, Mike McDaniel's too good of an offensive coordinator. Having some time this week, some extra time to here everywhere else, get ready for the Colts. Can they put a plan together on offense to score some points? I mean, they have to be able to. They're too good elsewhere. And they have NFL quarterbacks on their roster. Maybe not starting caliber NFL quarterbacks, but maybe the Colts don't right now, too, with how volatile Richardson is right now, quarterback. So I'll take the Dolphins and take the points.
I mean, it's a great point because if Tua was healthy, this would be like in a dome, coming off a bye, Tyreek, Waddle, Achan are all healthy against the most vanilla scheme in the league. You know, like you're just going to play cover 3 all day long. I'm just going to hit you with crossers and destroy you. But we just haven't seen it. But maybe off a bye, we get 50% of that, you know?
Show me something, Dolphins.
Yeah. Get the ball in your playmaker's hands and spot that can make a play without a big-time quarterback. I think they can possibly do that, but I also think they're going to get run on like crazy.
All right, we got some good matchups to finish up the Week 7 picks here. We got the divisional matchup here in New York with the Eagles at the New York Giants. We got Raiders, Rams, Panthers, Commanders, and Super Bowl rematch, 49ers, Chiefs next. The final segment of this episode of Peacock and Williamson is brought to you by FanDuel. And all of the lines that we reference when we make picks here on Peacock and Williamson and throughout the Locked On Podcast Network come from our friends at FanDuel and FanDuel.com. And NFL fans, right now, you can start big and get a huge return at America's #1 sportsbook because you can get started with $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet at FanDuel. All you got to do is go to FanDuel.com. And when you're watching football games on Sunday, you get a little hunch maybe, and you want to go check some stats, maybe view a little play-by-play, so much more. You can find it all on the very same page where you place your bets at FanDuel and maybe inform your second half of a game bets, or your afternoon game bets, or your Monday night game bet, or tons of props, season-long bets, and not just the NFL, every sport imaginable. You can find that action at FanDuel.com, and you'll get started with $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. Just go to FanDuel.com or download the app and get America's #1 sports book. That is FanDuel.com. All right. Eagles Giants, always a good one, no matter where these teams are headed and going and where they are currently. A couple of teams where week to week, I don't really know what to expect. I do think the Eagles are a better football team, but I think a kind of a sneaky hot seat is probably Nick Sirianni and the Eagles, because there seems to be a lack of answers over the course of the last year plus there coming out of Philadelphia. But they are the 3-2 Eagles right now and should beat the 2-4 Giants, even though they are on the road, and it is those Eagles that are favored by 3 points at New York.
I'm taking the Giants, but I've seen this line fluctuate and go over 3, and I would keep an eye on that, because I would jump on the Giants plus 3.5 at home. They're kind of my favorite bad team. Like, I think they're a little underrated, but we featured this game a lot when I was on Locked On NFL, from the Barkley revenge angle and the rookie Neighbors versus Quinyon Mitchell angle. And Mitchell's been phenomenal, and that's a really good matchup. I hate that I'm taking the Giants without Andrew Thomas, though. I mean, he was the guy that they left him alone and they could scheme everything else around him. But I think getting Neighbors back, and really they've been about the best pass rushing team in the league, the Giants, and people don't look at them in that light. I think they could cause problems for Hurts.
I'm actually checking right now because I have not checked this morning about the health of Malik Neighbors. If he's going to go,
it's trending the right direction. I mean, he was doing all the concussion stuff you want.
He's a huge piece for that offense. Even as a rookie, like they have no dynamic playmakers on that New York offense, and including the quarterback. And they're playing
Wan'Dale Robinson so many targets, and
One thing the Lions have done, or the Giants have done, is put together one of the best defensive fronts in the NFL. Dexter Lawrence is playing at I think a defensive player of the year type level right now. I mean, he has been unbelievable inside. Then you get the speed with Burns off the outside, and even with Thibodeau out, they've got Azeez Ojulari, and they got some other pieces to help them rush the passer. So that's been absolutely the strength, and it helps them keep in a game like this. I talked about the Seahawks, who are non-functional with all the losses on the defensive line. It's the opposite right now for the New York Giants, as long as these guys are healthy. So. And it's looking like a good sign right now for Malik Neighbors to be.
I think he's going to play.
Devin Singletary, questionable. It looks like his groin injury might have an opportunity to play, but they got some. They had some nice work from the fill-in.
Tracy looks good.
I rode Tracy last week as well. Yeah, so a little two-headed monster there of somewhat mediocre running backs, I think, in the end. But obviously the better running backs on the other side, the revenge angle. I think they're still a better football team. They have their own. Really solid players up front. Give me the Philadelphia Eagles, and I'll give up those 3 points on the road at the New York Giants. I think this is a big brother, little brother situation still with these two teams.
I hear you. I don't love where the Eagles D is, to be honest with you. I like Mitchell, and I like a lot of other guys in the front, but I don't think it's been a great D.
They're, with all the changes in the coordinators, it just feels like they're like, okay, we're at the Y, and we're playing some hoops, and we picked up 5 good players, but we're a pickup team. We haven't played together a lot. That's the vibe I get when I'm watching the Eagles.
A little bit. Yeah, we added some new things, but we don't really know each other yet.
The Las Vegas Raiders at 2-4 are at the 1-4 Rams. These are 2 not good football teams, Matt. These are 2 teams that we think are sellers potentially at the deadline. And if they aren't sellers, they should be sellers. And the Raiders already told us they're sellers because they already sold one piece. Could they sell more? We'll find out. The Rams are favored by 7 at 1-4. They're favored by 7 points at home against the Raiders.
This number seems so big. The Rams coming off a bye, McVay with a lot of time, and I think maybe you get like Cup back, and a little bit of injury stuff favors you for the first time in forever. And man, studying the Raiders against Steelers, they're really a bad football team and didn't tackle well. I could see Kyron Williams running all over these guys, but should the Rams be favored by 7 over anyone? I guess I'll lay the points, but I dislike it.
This one's so annoying because it's one of those where you're like, oh, okay, yeah, Rams by 3. I think they'll cover that. And it's like, Rams by 7. Come on. This is a bad football team. They shouldn't be favored by 7 against anybody. Maybe even the Raiders. You do get Cooper Kupp back, so they should be able to put together some offense with Stafford and Kupp, which is pretty important. I am going to take the points, though, with the Raiders. And maybe there's it's not like Devontae Adams was playing for the Raiders, so they didn't lose.
Oh, no, they had nothing but Brock Bowers.
And maybe it's almost like the interim bump where you're like, look, guys, you better put something on tape or you're getting traded next. So 7 points. The Rams are not good enough to be a 7-point favorite, in my opinion, against anybody.
I totally get it. I wouldn't touch it one bit. I thought this game would be 4.5.
Right. And then it'd be a lot easier to take the Rams. So I'm going to take the Raiders and 7 points. Carolina Panthers are at where are they? They are at the Washington.
Yeah.
1-5 Panthers, 4-2 Commanders, and Commanders favored by 8 points. How quickly do things change? Rookie quarterbacks are like, oh man, this is a rookie quarterback. I don't know. And for the Commanders, like, hey, Jaden Daniels coming to town. You're favored by 8 points.
Just on paper, these are two of the worst defenses in the league. Could Carolina make this a shootout, start all your fantasy guys type of game and keep it less than a touchdown? They absolutely could. Or they could crumble and lose by 30. And Bryce Young's in there in the fourth quarter again, and the wheels are off. I'll take the home team, but this is another one. I think the line is absolutely perfect. If it was under 7, I'd feel very comfortable, but yeah, this is a lot of points.
It's a great line. They put enough points out there to make you not want to try to coax you away from taking the Commanders in this one. But I do think it's one of those where the Commanders can put up, 30 plus points again. And can the Commanders put up 23 points, 22 points? I don't know. Might be able to, but I think I'm still going to take the Commanders. But I don't like it. Would not touch this game at all.
No, same. This one is not jumping out at me at all. I think it'll be high scoring, though.
Would you touch the Chiefs and 49ers Super Bowl rematch? People have called it a revenge game. You can't get revenge for a Super Bowl in the regular season, in my opinion. But the 49ers at 3-3 get to host the 5-0 Chiefs. The Chiefs coming off a bye, but the Niners are the team that's favored by 2 points at home.
All right, what am I looking for here? I mean, Brock Purdy. We haven't talked a ton, but Ben, the Niners offense is much different than it's ever been. Low yards after catch, high average depth of target, very Purdy centric, no McCaffrey. And I think the Chiefs D is really good. But I don't like where the Chiefs offense is. I mean, the way it's not even Mahomes. It's just, they're not doing anything creative. They have running back injuries. Tell me what I'm looking for here.
Well, I think it all comes down to, as many games do in the NFL, is quarterbacks. And so whoever has the best quarterback is going to win, which means the San Francisco 49ers and Brock Purdy, the number 1 graded quarterback in the NFL. The Chiefs are getting points. I think what's the stat? Patrick Mahomes is like 15-1 as against the spread as an underdog, including the Super Bowl. This line's climbing. Yesterday it was 1.5. The Niners are now favored by 2 points. So there's money coming in on the Niners side of things. I do like the Niners to kind of slay the dragon here in this one regular season game. I think they've, even without McCaffrey, they got a lot of pieces on offense. The offense is playing well. The Chiefs are struggling a little bit, but with all the things you say about the Chiefs, like, they haven't really figured out wide receivers, not Mahomes' best statistical year. They're leaning on the defense more than the offense this year. Said exactly those things before the Super Bowl. And for the 49ers, their thing is, and they've done it twice with the Chiefs in the Super Bowl, is getting early leads, not being able to hold on to them. So even if, Niners fans aren't going to feel safe with a 10-point lead in the fourth quarter because they've seen that happen too many times. And they did it to 2 other bad teams, the Cardinals and Rams this year. The Niners should be 5-1 coming into this game, but they blew 2 other 10, multi-score fourth quarter leads. And so no lead is safe. You got to take the points with the Kansas City Chiefs right now.
That's what I've been leaning towards too. I mean, I'm just sitting here thinking, when you mentioned Mahomes as a dog, and I'm just trying to get in Andy Reid's mind. You think he tells them that every 5 minutes? Right. Like
Andy Reid
every time you see him in the hall, you're an underdog this week.
They're too well coached. Andy Reid is like 21-3 or something coming off of buys. It's
right. There's something to that, yeah.
And the Niners had a lot of time. They played on Thursday, so they had a mini bye, and they're going to be pretty healthy in this one. But the Chiefs have, 2 big pieces on offense. They're starting their number 1 receiver. And here's what I think. Tell me the stat line for Xavier Worthy, and I'll tell you if the Chiefs win this game. I think, rookie, we just talked about Troy Franklin as a rookie. I think this is the part of the season where rookies start to get a little bit more comfortable. Second half of the year, you're just coming off a bye. I think they'll find some ways to get the ball, and a guy who's the fastest receiver ever drafted, according to Combine 40 time, and we've seen some flashes from him this year. I think it could be a Xavier Worthy game. Niners don't have the most speed in the secondary, especially deep at safety. So Xavier Worthy.
I like that angle. Right. I mean, Juju still might end up with 10 catches for 80 yards, nickel and diming you, but Worthy needs to make some plays.
Right. Yeah. You know that they're going to get some over the middle of the field and Kelsey, and they're going to attack the non-Fred Warner linebacker of the 49ers and those things, but can they make big plays too? And so we'll see if that happens with Xavier Worthy. Monday Nighters. We got dual Monday Nighters here. We got to get to. So it is the Ravens at the Buccaneers. Good one here. Ravens at home Ravens on the road. Favored by 3.5.
Yeah, the Ravens pass defense is a problem, and I think the Mayfield, Godwin, Evans situation is a real strength and is very real. I also think Vita Vea is going to be hard to move on that inside run game. Baltimore's just playing too good, though. They're just playing too well right now. I think they're the best team in the league. I think what they do travels. I don't know what kind. I mean, Lamar versus NFC is very real. I'll take the Ravens.
Give me the Bucks. Give me 3.5 at home. Home dog. I love this one. It should be a really good game too. And I think the Ravens are a better football team, but the Bucks have been playing really good ball. Both these teams are 4-2 for a reason. Getting 3.5 at home. Monday Night Football. Raucous crowd in Tampa. I like that. So yeah, I'll take the points. We're disagreeing a lot. We might have more separation with our picks, Matt, which I like too. And then it's got Chargers Cardinals in the later Monday nighter. 3-2 Chargers at the 2-4 Cards. Chargers on the road favored by 2 points, and the Chargers need a win here to keep pace with those Broncos for second place in the AFC West.
I become a big believer in the Chargers defense, and I become less and less a believer I never was in the Cardinals defense that has no good players, really. And I just picture 40 minutes time of possession for the Chargers, just running, and Herbert converting third downs. And I don't think crowd's a big factor for either team. I think this really sets up as a Harbaugh win convincingly.
I like this as well for the Chargers and the way they've played, and Jim Harbaugh turned that thing around quickly. It is a very Harbaugh team. I would take the under 43.5 points probably. And I think that the Chargers defense can do a better job limiting the Cardinals offense than the Cardinals defense can do limiting what the Chargers want to do. And like you just mentioned, Dobbins, heavy dose. They've got a good quarterback there, even if they don't have great receivers. Could the Chargers become buyers at the deadline for one of those receivers, by the way?
I don't think that's crazy. Like, I'm not sure they're going to win the Super Bowl, but they need one anyways. Why not grab one now,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're in it to win it. And so, give me the Chargers in more of a, here's the thing. If it goes over, maybe it's a Cardinals win. I think it's going to go under. It's going to be a Chargers win.
Yeah. Again, there's just a lot of running, Dobbins over and over,
There you go. Those are the Week 7 games. Let us know what you think at BD Peacock, at Williamson NFL. And of course, Monday, we'll be back to break all of the action down with what does happen in Week 7. Thanks to y'all for making us your first listen. And for your second listen, check out Matt doing the barbershop with Tony Wiggins, Locked On NFL. He's also doing Dynasty, Locked On Dynasty once a week. I'm at Locked On 49ers. If you want to hear more about your specific team, your favorite team, it's covered right here on the Locked On Podcast Network. Matt and I back Monday. Peacock and Williamson.